Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Eastern Shore Delegation. Today is February 27th, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting to order if we could stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Members, this morning we have a good friend of ours from Dorchester County, Pastor Wayne Stone. Could you please offer us a prayer, Pastor Stone?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much for having me. Delegate Hutchinson, thank you for inviting me. And let's just pray for each other and over this meeting. Father, we're grateful today. Lord, we give thanks being able to gather here like this. Lord, I pray over these leaders. Lord, they lead our community, our beautiful land of the Eastern Shore that I've lived here all my life. Lord, I believe your blessing and favor rests on this land. Lord, I pray for their meeting today. Lord, I pray that you give them creativity. Lord, give them great ideas, Lord, straight from you. Lord, I pray that you bless their speech, their relationships, Father. Lord, I pray for a productive meeting today. And Lord, I lift up the Eastern Shore of Maryland to you. Lord, I pray for all its resources, Lord, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Chesapeake Bay, all that's in between, Lord, that your blessing and favor would rest on it. And Lord, you would give supernatural wisdom to these leaders as they gather, they make decisions, Lord, as they plan and strategize for this region, Lord. And Lord, we just ask that and we invite you in to be a part of it. Lord, we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Members, could I get a motion and a second to approve the meetings from February 20th, 2026?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Whatever.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you very much. Members, good morning. We have our first presentation from our DMOs from the Eastern Shore Destination Marketing Associate Organizations, and they're all with us. I'm not sure whether you want me to call by name or whether for the next half hour you'd like to kind of take the agenda and run with it. So if somebody would let me know what the preference is.
You can call on me first, Mr. Chairman, and we will take it from there.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for being with us, Sandra.
Good morning, Delegate Adam. Good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and esteemed members of the delegation for allowing us time on your agenda this morning to share some information about the tourism industry. My name is Cassandra Van Hooser, and I'm the Director of Economic Development and Tourism for Talbot County, but also the Chairman of the Maryland Association of Destination Marketing Organizations. You may hear us referred to as MDMO for short. Now, some of our guests today may be asking, what is a destination marketing organization? So let me explain. Destination marketing organizations, or DMOs, promote their destinations to people who do not live here, convince them to visit, stay overnight, spend money, and come back again. That visitor spending supports local jobs, small businesses, and arts and culture. But more importantly, it generates tax revenue that helps pay for public services without raising local taxes. Put simply, DMOs put heads in beds, feet on streets, dollars in cash registers, and money back into your community. We are the keepers of the Eastern Shore experience, and in many cases, we're the architects of the experience. There's an official DMO for every county in Maryland, for Ocean City, and for Baltimore City. My colleague from Ocean City, Tom Perlazzo, and I are going to share some economic data this morning, but first, I will call on my colleagues around the Eastern Shore to introduce themselves, and I'll start with Caroline County.
Hi, Cassandra, thank you. Chairman and delegation, thank you for having us today. I'm glad to be part of the most sensible delegation in Maryland. Thank you. I'm Bob Zibroff with Caroline County Economic Development and Tourism. Please visit Caroline County, enjoy our bountiful outdoor opportunities to hike, bike, kayak, fish, and hunt. And I believe Cecil is next up. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. I'm Sandy Turner from Cecil County, where we're known for our harbors, history, and horses.
Good morning. I'm Holly Gilpin, come to you from Dorchester County, the heart of Maryland.
Hi, I'm Shallon Bolden with Kent County, and we are known for our wide open spaces.
Hi, I'm April Plummer from Queen Anne's County, where shore living begins. Thank you for your time today.
Hello, Clint Sterling, Somerset County, Maryland, home of the original Smith Island cake, Maryland State's dessert, where explorers are wanted.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Kristen Galler, Tourism Manager for Talbot County. We're the birthplace of Frederick Douglass, and we're surrounded by over 600 miles of shoreline.
Good morning. My name is Justin Palizzi. I'm the tourism manager for Wicomico County, and champions play here. We host NCAA high school and youth championships, bringing top tier competition and unforgettable experiences to our community. Thank you again.
Good morning, delegation. I'm Melanie Purcell, the Director of Tourism and Economic Development for Worcester County here on Maryland's coast, home to the wild ponies of Assateague Island, the vibrant shores of Ocean City, and the scenic cypress-lined waters of the Pocomoke River. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Melanie. I'm Tom Perlazzo, and I'm the Director of Tourism and Business Development for Ocean City, Maryland. That is Maryland and the East Coast's finest family beach destination. So it's a pleasure to speak to everyone today, and I'm going to assist Cassandra as we move through the slides and tell you the goal of today's presentation. It's to discuss Maryland's future, the future of every taxpayer, family, citizen, business, small and large. It's our growth strategy for the state, and we believe that reducing tourism spending is a huge risk. And we're going to ask you by the end of this particular presentation to restore, invest, and maintain what we know to drive the economic benefits here in the state of Maryland. So I know you guys have difficult decisions, and we're going to just try to move through the slides as we go. There's a bunch of buzzwords that you'll hear from time to time, including workforce. Hopefully that slide will pop up. But as you know, workforce does support or is supported by tourism. 193,000 plus jobs have been created in one in every 21 jobs in the state. 10.5 billion in wages. It's a terrific opportunity to support that, but it does more than that. It grows revenue in all aspects of government. It strengthens the quality of life for our residents and reinforces Maryland as its economic competitive is always on the table here. We know we're outspent by our surrounding states, and those challenges have always been there. Our assets have always been to work harder, be smarter, and deliver the needs that our guests expect. But that can only go so far, and we need to stay top of mind to our guests. While expenses appear on the spreadsheet throughout the budgets, few expense line items account for the revenue to afford the things we take for granted. 45 million visitors travel to Maryland, 21 billion in visitor spending, 1.4 billion in state tax revenue, 16 billion flowed into Maryland businesses in 25. It saved $1,000 per taxpayer in taxes. 21 billion, as I mentioned, in visitor spending and 1.4 billion in taxes. Each county has its own challenges. Here on the Eastern Shore, just to give you a quick summary of ROI, the impacts are 8.2 million, as you mentioned here, 21,000 jobs, 441 million in state taxes. Those are big numbers, but more importantly, the context for each county is doing their part to drive tourism. We are dependent upon the state to continue the growth and support tourism. It's a two-way street. The state wins, we win, the state wins. Cassandra?
Thank you, Tom. So Tom, the impact in Ocean City is pretty phenomenal. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Ocean City, Maryland is probably 2.5 billion in visitor spending. Huge numbers associated with tourism there. And there's, again, we're not just a particular beach destination. We do more. to generate economics across the state. We are a catalyst in a lot of senses. And I wanted to just share with you a few things over and above what tourism does and show you what the ripple effect of how tourism works here in the state. Last year and several years ago, we were lucky enough to get a national concert series to come to the beach. We held three events, Oceans Calling, Country Calling, and Boardwalk Rock, which generated over 500 million in economics associated with that event. It's supported a huge number of jobs. I want to say roughly 3,000 jobs. It was 133 million in labor savings. We had 40 to 50 national music artists. And when I mentioned ripple effect, I wanted to tell you there were 100 million social media posts by those artists. Carrie Underwood is an example, Luke Bryant, Dave Matthews, all mentioned Ocean City, Maryland, their dining experience, whatever. Carrie Underwood alone reposts 10 times, which were around 20 million of her followers. However, the important thing about that ripple effect that I wanted to mention was there was 50 to 70% of those concert goers have never been to Maryland or Ocean City as a general. 55,000 ticket holders attended over 9 days. The tickets were sold in every state in the U.S., plus 5 to 10 international destinations. So it was very, very telling on how people get to Maryland, how they supported air travel, gasoline, hotel stays, restaurants. It just rippled throughout the community. As we look at things, we need the state to continue their support associated with tourism, to continue that ripple effect. As Ocean City goes, we feel like the state goes, but we need that top of mind opportunity to continue to grow tourism here on the Eastern Shore for sure, but in the state of Maryland as well.
Well, Tom, that's really impressive. And Ocean City really carries a big stick on the Eastern Shore, but every one of the destination marketing organizations on the Eastern Shore can claim similar wins. And we are your infrastructure for tourism. But I think what's really important to point out is that the tax revenue that is generated from all of these things that we've been talking about funds the things that Marylanders value most. And we had an economic impact study done where we looked at the taxes, 1.4 billion in tourism tax revenue that goes to the state. And you can see that it is funding education, health, public safety, and a number of other things. And for perspective, the tourism revenue that goes to education could fund an additional 7,036 teachers. The revenue that funds health could hire 4,318 nurses. And the revenue that goes to public safety could hire 1,500 police officers. So an investment in tourism is an investment in Maryland. It does not compete with other priorities. It helps sustain them. And here's the beauty of it. The money spent by visitors after a successful marketing campaign begins to hit cash registers in your jurisdictions within 60 to 90 days. Very few public investments generate economic activity on this timeline. When we fund tourism advertising, we're not waiting for years for construction to finish or businesses to relocate or tax incentives to mature. Those are tools that we use, economic development tools we use for tourism as well. But we're stimulating near-term demand that fills hotel rooms and restaurants and retail shops and attractions within a single fiscal quarter. That means jobs are supported quickly, small businesses see revenue quickly, and tax collections follow quickly. In a budget environment where timing and cash flow matter, tourism is one of the fastest acting economic development tools available to a governmental body.
So as we move through here, we wanted to wrap up quickly so we can get some questions maybe answered. But in summary, each DMO needs support from the state, especially in the tourism realm. The key takeaways today is state and county DMO tourism provides an economic growth. It provides job creation and stability within the state. Tourism is a renewable economic engine that provides tax relief. It supports small business as well as large business, and it provides state enhancements, including the support of other governmental segments, excuse me. So public safety, schools, all supported through tourism. We know you have difficult decisions yearly, and we respectfully ask consideration to continue to invest with tourism, restore the tourism dollars to the level in prior years, and maintain tourism engine as we move forward. But in the short term, again, we grow revenue, we support jobs in every county, we strengthen the quality of life, we reinforce the economic competitiveness of the state, and it's one of the state's most efficient and accountable growth tools. So with that, I think Cassandra and I will open it up for some questions that you may have about the presentation or anything at all.
Okay, Cassandra and Tom, thank you very much for the presentation today. I do just have a quick question. Because we're doing this presentation as a team or as a group, I assume most of what you do, or say at least some of what you do, is with the idea of people come to the Eastern Shore as a region to have a good time, and that you go from here to there, kind of visit as if you're doing a tour of the Eastern Shore. Do I have that right, or are you finding most people are here for a destination? They go to Talbot County for the Waterfowl Festival, or they go to Ocean City because they want to go to the beach. But just give me an idea how you partner together as a region in this sense.
So I'll start on that one, Delegate, but I will let others chime in as well. We definitely see that visitors, they don't see county lines, and they want the full experience. And to me, the Eastern Shore is a full experience. One of the things that we partner on very effectively is the Chesapeake Country Scenic Byway. We applied for national, international significance several years ago, and are beginning to really tell that story in a meaningful way. And that leverages what each of us has and brings your visitor on down the Eastern Shore, or up the Eastern Shore, or across the bridge. However they approach it, there is a full way of experiencing the entire Eastern Shore. And then I'll yield to others and let them chime in on this, because I think the Chesapeake Country Scenic Byway is one of the most amazing things that we have going on, particularly in partnerships.
Well, I may chime in then and just tell you, look, there's all kinds of assets that we work together on. One, I'll just tell you it's near and dear to my heart, is sports. And again, we have done a terrific job, both statewide and countywide, to partner, and especially on the Eastern Shore, where we have a organization where 3 counties, get together to try to recruit, larger events. Typically, we, again, it's very competitive. We're competing against states with better assets, and on the shore, we have that unique blend of indoor, outdoor, beautiful opportunities. So we take great advantage of that. Wacomico, Worcester, and Ocean City jump on that very hard, as well as other parts of the state. It's we support the Preakness, we support the horse event. It's just again an all-around team effort to try to lead people to the Eastern Shore.
If anybody else wants to chime in on that, here's your chance.
Well, hi, this is Shallon again with Kent County. I just want to mention, I guess, some more things that are a little bit more specific or niche, I guess, that we do. One thing to say is that all of the DMOs, I mean, really across the state, but especially on the Eastern Shore, kind of behind the scenes, we are all very much in constant communication with one another. We have regular meetings, obviously emails go back and forth, and we see each other in different capacities, whether it's an actual DMO meeting or a call with the Maryland Tourism Coalition, or a Chesapeake Country All-American Road meeting. But specifically, like for Kent County, we have an established partnership with Cecil and Harford County, where we've actually attended like travel shows together to, get face to face with potential tourists and talk to them about not just visiting, obviously, Chestertown and Kent County, but kind of doing a tour through Harford and Cecil, or from Kent County all the way up. And then another thing that we do is we do a lot of hosting journalists and influencers and different people that can market for us. And I think a lot of the times when we do it, it's not just hosting a journalist in Kent County or in Talbot County, but we try and give them the most for the trip. So we spread the love a little bit, and a journalist or a writer will come and visit Queen Anne's County, Caroline, Talbot, pop up to Kent, pop up to Cecil before heading home, which I think is really speaks to how well we all work together. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sandy from Cecil County. We also have a partnership effort for the American Bus Association working together to bring bus groups to the Eastern Shore, which is awesome. And hopefully you visited our joint table that we did as partners at the Taste of the Eastern Shore recently. We just have a great group on the Eastern Shore who we consider ourselves a team, not competitors.
This is Holly Gilpin from Dorchester County. I think it's also very important for you all to know that we each carry the information of the different counties in our visitor centers. I have a whole section set up for every county on this call and even other parts of Maryland. When someone comes to Dorchester County, they're not always spending the night here. They may be staying in Talbot County, but they come over to see the Harriet Tubman Byway. We will set up a whole day event for them to do a one-day visit here, and then we send them to do, of course, the Frederick Douglass tour as well. We also partner with Melanie and Worcester, and we've also done ads with Kent County, and we also send people to Caroline County very often because of the byway. I think it's just very important too to know that we actually attend each other's events. I make a point to try to go to events that my partner DMOs are having, and to also, if I can, set up a table there to promote my county as well as their county and how we work together and how we have like items to go to. Perhaps they're doing a byway, which is a really great, was what Cassandra alluded to. But it's very important for you to know that we don't just think about one county, we think about the entire Eastern Shore and how we can push it.
Well, and I think too, building on that, and it's funny how Holly and I were just talking the other day about, working again on additional campaigns as people are from the Bay Bridge to Ocean City, creating or amplifying the experience. So experiential travel is just so hot right now. And then the trail system. We are all connected by the trail system that we have on the Eastern Shore, the outdoor recreational activities. And actually, the Eastern Shore will be hosting the Outdoor Recreation Conference in October in Ocean City. So we're excited about that. So we'll be partnering with our DMOs again to highlight all of the Eastern Shore's recreational and family activities. All of the even the heritage areas work together again with the All-American Road, with highlighting our historic assets as well as the businesses that are tied to that scenic byway. So it's a great collaboration, and again, no competition, lots of collaboration, and we feel very lucky to have the partnership that we do have, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay.
Delegate, I see some raised hands.
Yeah, I'm actually not seeing them myself, and I feel like I'm made a mistake here. Let me go back to my. I'm sorry. Okay, Senator Carrozza, go ahead.
Actually, Chair Jacobs was first.
Okay, Chair Jacobs.
How about that? Well, thank you very much. And I'll first of all, I want to thank all the DMOs on this morning. You have so much energy and creativity, collectively, you do work together. I've seen the team effort to promote all kinds of tourism and different events on the shore and around the state of Maryland. And you have a tendency to squeeze $1.25 out of $1 of what's given to you. So we're always appreciative of that. But what I wanted to talk about this morning was potentially some bad news. I brought this up a week or so ago at the Tourism Day in Annapolis, but there's a proposed regulation in play right now that's going to shut down the striped bass fishery in the entire Chesapeake Bay during the entire month of August, from August 1st to the 31st. it's a proposed regulation. It's really a radical change to the fishery. As you're aware, 3 years ago, they changed the catch limit on charter boats from 2 to 1, which had a dramatic impact on the charter boat industry, down about 75%. And now we have a proposed regulation which will shut down the entire fishery in the entire Chesapeake Bay for rockfish during the month of August. There's an estimated 700,000 recreational fishermen in the state of Maryland. That's DNR's numbers. So I am very concerned about what that means to tourism, what that means to hotels, motels, restaurants, tackle shops, charter boats, you name it. The state of Maryland is known for its striped bass fishery all over the United States, and I think this is going to be a devastating blow on top of the one that was made a couple years ago. So I hate to be the harbinger of bad news, but I want tourism and DMOs to know what's in the pipeline now that's going to have an effect on the Chesapeake Bay and all the towns surrounding it. But I do thank you for what you do. You work really hard at it, and we are so appreciative, I can tell you.
Delegate, I'll make a quick response to that. After you brought this up at our rural caucus, I spoke to our Talbot Watermen's Association. They are like you, very concerned. I just got our new numbers. We have more than 500 commercial fishermen here. Not all of them, of course, do charters, but it is going to have an impact on our communities. And so we have a lobbyist. We're working through that organization to respond to the concerns, and also asking our Watermen's Association and partners to advocate as well. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Okay, Senator Caruso.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Cassandra, thank you for your leadership. I need to give a shout out to Melanie, Tom, Justin, and Clint from my district. And my question is, I want to first of all echo what Chair Jacobs just brought to your attention, and kind of ask you, with our kind of strength in numbers, the coalition with the destination marketing organizations, the tourism organizations, partnered with the Watermen's Association. As a coalition, we're strong. And so if we can kind of really start pressing the case, on that issue, that would be great. And my question also, and I think I'll direct this to Melanie, we talk about the Eastern Shore being cohesive and kind of marketing and supporting each other. But I wanted Melanie to press a little bit about the state partnerships, because I think one way when we talk about, the funding issues, we have to show that, this is benefiting all of Maryland tourism, our partners in Western Maryland, Southern Maryland, Central Maryland. So if you could speak a little bit to expanding those working relationships and partnerships statewide.
Well, and thank you, Senator, and we sincerely appreciate your leadership and representation of your district, and we certainly love working with you. Absolutely, statewide, we have a strong partnership as well, similar to what we have on the Eastern Shore. And in fact, I guess it was maybe 6 or so years ago, the DMOs actually collaborated to bring on a lobbyist firm. So that's when Providence came on board, and we work with Mike Mason. So we actually meet every Friday. So we'll be meeting today to talk about the specific issues that are tourism related statewide. So, a lot of us take off our individual hats and look at the state as a whole. Many of us are also on the legislative committee for the Maryland Tourism Coalition. And as you saw, that Advocacy Day was one of the most well-attended events by legislators, I think, in the entire session. So we do feel like we've got such a groundswell with the partnership and the support. And, we look at tourism not only, as generating that tax revenue, but as was mentioned, creating that quality of life. So if you're looking at recruiting a huge firm or industry to Montgomery County, to Prince George's County, we provide that attraction for workforce, for relocation, for people to have our wonderful school system. So all of the things that we support with tax revenue, it also is an attraction tool that we can work hand in hand with economic development, as well as our Department of Commerce and our state entities as well. So I think that we advocate as a whole for Maryland, for the industry, and we work collaboratively. And if there's, we feel it. I mean, when it's a great snow in Garrett County, I'm like, I saw the gentleman from WISP a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, man, I'm feeling great for you guys, because we know what it's like when we have great weather in Ocean City, and the converse, if we're having a bad season. So I think we all lean on each other, we work together. And it's not just the DMOs, it's the industry itself. So we have Maryland Hotel and Lodging Association, we have RAM, Restaurant Association of Maryland, of course, MTC. So there's a variety of statewide entities that the DMOs work with collaboratively throughout the year, not just during session. We will submit letters of support or letters of opposition. We will go testify for one another. So I think that there's a tremendous partnership across the entire state of Maryland. And we're so incredibly unique. We have such amazing assets in each of our jurisdictions that complement. I know it seems cliche, but there certainly is something for everybody in Maryland, and we use that to leverage attraction for industry as well, and growing our economy.
And Senator Crow's a point of personal privilege on behalf of your district. I see our mayor, Ocean City, Rick Meehan, on. We don't normally let him on or let people on that aren't on the agenda, but I thought I would just do the shout out there. Last question, because we have the Comptroller of Maryland next up, talking about economic impact for DMOs. Brooke Learman's on after this. So last question, Senator Mounts.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It'll be very quick. I just want to give Cassandra a heads up. We have the counties have sent letters in regard to a bill dealing with this charter boat fishing, and it's pending in Talbot County. If you could help out with that. I think Talbot is the one county that has not sent a letter of support for the legislation. And good to see everybody. That's just a quick, it's not really a question, isn't that so, right? Yeah. Cassandra, did you get that?
I got it, sir. Also, I'll say thank you to Senator Mounts, who is one of my tourism partners here in Talbot County. He can't say that, but I can. I'm a real fan of his organization, and we promote him along with all of our others. So thank you.
Thank
Senator.
you for all your good work. Absolutely.
Okay, before we move along to our Comptroller, Cassandra, I'll give you last word, and thank you for your team and our DMOs from the Eastern Shore for presenting today. So last word to you.
Well, I'll just say thank you one more time. And also, I'll ask you to remember that an investment in tourism is an investment in Maryland. So thank you for your time this morning.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. Members, next up, we have our Comptroller. It surely seems like we did the right thing by bringing the DMOs, talking about economic impact and tax revenue benefit to the state. And this morning we have our Comptroller, Brooke Learman. Brooke, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's great to be on here. And we do have a slide PowerPoint for you that Elizabeth and my team is going to pull up. But that was a great discussion, and just really grateful for all the work that is happening. It's so important, now more than ever, to make sure we're continuing to dig in on our, tourism industry, DMOs. They're all doing really important work. So it was fun to get to hear that. Thank you. And good morning, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Brooke Learman. I'm honored to serve as the Comptroller of Maryland. Also a classmate of Delegate Chris Adams and Senator Johnny Mounts, and let's see, who else? Senator Mary Beth Carrozza. We all entered the legislature together. Former committee mate of Delegate Jay Jacobs. So it's good to see you all. So I'm just going to walk through a sort of quick slideshow to talk with you a little bit about the agency and the work we're doing, and happy to take a couple questions then. So first, here's our org chart. It looks complicated. It's not, I promise. We reorganized when I became comptroller to ensure more accountability and to have more efficient government in our agency. So as you can see, we've got several deputy comptrollers. We brought in the first CIO, Chief Information Officer, and first CISO to ensure our cybersecurity is up and running how it should be, and really, happy with the team that we've put together serving the people of Maryland. Next up. This This is our vision. We work in partnership to create a state that's more equitable, more resilient, and more prosperous so that every Marylander can reach their full potential. That's a big goal. So we work, that's why it starts with partnership, because to reach that, we've all got to work together. And down, you'll see the 3 priorities that really guide all of the work that we do. 1, making government work better. 2, ensuring that the resources and the expertise in the Office of the Comptroller don't just stay with us, but that they're shared by all Marylanders. And 3, that we are well positioned for responsible long-term economic growth and success. Next slide. So what is it that we do? Well, our 3 big roles, I'm like the elected CFO. We do all the accounting, right? We balance the books. I sign our ACFR every year. We administer unclaimed property, central payroll, right? We do all your paychecks, the Bureau of Revenue estimates. We also run the mainframe for all state agencies. And then, of course, I'm on numerous boards, including MALPF, including the BPW, the State Retirement and Pension System Board, and more. And then the Revenue Administrator, where we work with, all of our local governments in partnership as well. Next slide. So here are just a few numbers. I think it's always interesting to see the huge numbers of people that we deal with, like 500,000 businesses, 3.2 million individual taxpayers, 2.7 million refunds last year. So annually, we process more than 6 million returns and payments. There is no other agency that even comes close to the work that we do in terms of, returns, working with families, businesses, and processing payments and whatnot. So we just do, leaps and bounds more because we deal with every business and every family and every taxpayer. Next slide. One thing I really like to highlight for folks, on our quest to modernize, I think most popular thing that we've done is to modernize our unclaimed property website. We launched the brand new system in October. Makes it easier than ever for people to reclaim their lost assets and to find them. You can submit everything electronically. You can check the status of claims. You can view all your information 24/7. We had a record year last year. We sent back $121 million in FY25 to Marylanders, and I expect that we will beat that this year because of this new system. We also now are proactively sending out checks to people. So we were given authority from legislation that passed the General Assembly to send back smaller amounts of money to people when we find them, and we can make sure that all the addresses and everything lines up. So in December, we sent our first batch of 1,000 checks to Marylanders across the state, and we remitted $400,000 to them. Just their money, we're holding it, we want to get it back to them. So really excited about that. And I'd encourage people love the unclaimed property site. So it's something to post on your social media to remind people about it. When I was in my budget hearing the other day, a subcommittee chair said, I posted it, and then my in-laws found unclaimed property and just got it. So it's very popular. Next slide. We are very focused as well on making sure that we're sharing the data and reporting to tell the story of Maryland's economy. So we have published multiple reports. It's the first time the Office of the Comptroller has ever done this kind of economic research and reporting. And we do it because I hope that it's helpful to you all. When I was a state delegate, I was constantly frustrated at the lack of economic data and research that I could get my hands on. And so that's why we do this work. We published, of course, our first State of the Economy report in January of 2024. And since then, we've published reports, all about the importance of immigration to the economy, childcare, housing and migration, on how we spend some of our capital dollars, transit, climate change, school construction. We published a big report last year responding to a JCR and budget language on baby bonds, and we also did one on the impact of federal government spending on Maryland's economy. So this year, we'll continue doing that work and publishing reports to give you all information that I hope is helpful as you do your work. Next slide. We also do dashboards. We not only do reports, we now are dashboarding to build more transparency into government. So on that top right-hand corner, you'll see a photo of our COM 360 dashboard. You can go online and find that and zoom into your county and your area and see, for instance, how many folks in your counties that you represent claim the earned income tax credit or other tax credits. On the bottom right, you'll see our brand new Board of Public Works dashboard. We've created a way for folks to now search by department or amount or vendor to actually look up where our money is going as it moves through the Board of Public Works. And then over on the left, you'll see this is something that I think especially many of your local governments, delegates and senators might find interesting. This is a dashboard on federal spending. So it's to help your revenue estimators and your budget analysts in your counties by putting in, they can plug in data and numbers on federal spending in their counties, and it will spit out its projections and information on, decreased projections or increased projections based on what's happening with federal spending. Next slide. We are so focused on modernizing. That is what we do all day, every day, to make government work better. So we launched our brand new website in 2025. We have a brand new first ever customer relation management system, MyCom Connect. Our entire payroll system for the state of Maryland will change in January 2027. This August, we are launching a brand new tax system for all individual taxes, Maryland Tax Connect. Right now it exists for businesses, but in August we will move all personal taxes to our new system as well. This is probably one of the biggest IT projects the state has undertaken in the last 20 years. And it will be eclipsed only by the new statewide fiscal management system that we launch in early 2028. So that is going to be huge as well. Next slide. We also now have an Office of Taxpayer Advocate. This was created through legislation, and this is a team that it's really a best practice in tax agencies across the nation. And this is somebody who can help make sure that if there's really thorny cases or challenges that just can't be handled, that they can do the work of untangling the issue and then also analyzing our agency to understand where we can do better. We are just publishing its first annual report that they just wrote. That'll be on our website for folks to review as well. Next slide. Oops, wrong. This is Eastern Shore, not Southern Maryland. But next slide. Do we have the... Yes, okay. We have the right stuff, just the wrong name. So here we have some infrastructure and park improvements, program Open Space in Queen Anne's County. These are all projects that have come through the Board of Public Works that we've been proud to support and vote for. You can see a few of them there. I know many of these were your capital grants and LBIs that you passed, and we've been moving them through the pipeline to make sure that they can get funded. Many of your organizations reach out to us, which is great when they need help working or navigating the DGS system or just don't understand how to work on it. They reach out to me or they reach out to Mary Handley, our public engagement officer on the shore, or others, and we are always happy to help them. So if you ever encounter a nonprofit or somebody who doesn't know how to navigate the system, please send them to us and we will make sure that they get the help that they need. Next slide. Here's a little more, some more funding that has come through the BPW in different areas, land conservation and green space funding, of course, Rural Legacy, an amazing and fantastic program. We've got land conservation and park improvements through the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy, and then easements around in Queen Anne's County to protect the Tuckahoe Creek watershed and Tavern Creek. Next slide. Again, we are thrilled to have folks like Mary Handley who work with us on the shore, who many of you know. We've been, meeting with folks. I get around the shore quite a bit. I was just in Salisbury last week speaking at the Salisbury Area Greater Chamber of Commerce luncheon. Had a great time. Bill is doing a fantastic job, and the whole board is really, they're top notch. Really punch above their weight. Also got to visit the partnership at the airspace where they're teaching pilot training and mechanics to work on airplanes, which was fantastic in Salisbury. And here are a few other things that we've been doing and that we have coming up. Next slide. And just a little bit really briefly on revenues. This is sort of FY25 by the numbers. You can see all the funds that get distributed in different ways. We thought this was just a sort of helpful reminder of some of the various surcharges and taxes and where some of them go. Next slide. And we did have our December board estimate for the Board of Revenue estimates. You all probably know we did not have a write down in December. In December of 2024, we did have a write down, understanding that under the Trump administration, we expected to see less federal money coming to Maryland, and that sort of new revenue estimate that we created in December 2024 turned out to be quite true. We estimated we'd lose 25,000 federal jobs in Maryland. We lost 25,000 federal jobs in Maryland, which is sort of mind-boggling that we were that correct. And we also, we had a pretty steady year last year in our revenue estimates. We stayed in line with the decreased revenue estimate that we had forecast in December of 2024. So we are seeing growth. We're just seeing much slower growth than we had in the previous year or two. Next slide. Of course, our next estimate will be in March. There is a lot of uncertainty in the economy right now. Part of it is that we had both changes in tax laws at the state level and changes in tax laws at the federal level at the same time. And that really affects our highest income earners because they make different spending decisions and investment decisions based on the tax laws. So that can result in a greater share of revenue being recognized later in the fiscal year than earlier because of how they're spending and as well. Next slide. Next slide. So just a reminder, this is a big one. We are modernizing. This is the year that we are shifting our entire tax system to a new system in August. And that means that we are trying to stay really on point with the work that we need to do this year in terms of shifting revenues because we have no room for scope creep. We have to stay on, we can only move in August. That's really the only month of the year that a tax system can change because October to December is that's sort of our second filing season. And then January to April is our first filing season. So if we don't move in August, we have to wait a whole nother year. So we got to do it this year. Next slide. And then a few other things we're working on this year. We just opened a brand new branch office in Bel Air. We're also moving our Wheaton office to Rockville, a new office in Frederick. And then we have research reports coming out this year as well. Next slide. I think that's it. We'll take down the slideshow and I'm happy to turn it over to you. I know we've been working with many of you on bills. Senator Mouts, thank you for your legislation and bringing it to us early. Like I mentioned, we're trying to push all tax changes out 1 year so we can do our modernization this year, but we're happy to, we are happy to accommodate that, what you are working on, which is great and makes a lot of sense, after that. So excited to work with you on your bills and others. Turn it back to Delegate Adams.
Okay, Comptroller, thank you for presenting today. And I see first.
Oh, Delegate Temple Hughes, I didn't see you on earlier. Sorry. Also the same class.
That's right. We've got an all-star class, don't we?
We do.
Delegate Sample Hughes.
Sure. Good morning. Good morning, Madam Comptroller. How are you? I am just so pleased of all the work that you're doing and the efforts to canvass the entire state. I did post your video, the one you were at the Salisbury Airport and excited about the aviation maintenance program. So we're spreading the good news there too. And one other thing, I did post I need to post, but everybody's been asking me about the property claims. So I've been answering those questions for citizens. But my question now is, the modernization that you're doing, do you foresee, I know you're probably trying to hope that doesn't happen, but do you foresee any challenges maybe for our small businesses that are maybe sometimes seasonal to try to keep up with different modernization and things that are happening in the tax system?
Sure.
Do we foresee anything like that? I mean, the Eastern Shore really does, have some seasonal, but consistently, definitely small businesses.
Now, that's a great question. And fortunately, we are done with our business tax modernization. It was was a little painful. We ripped off the Band-Aid, and it wasn't totally healed, but it's done. And we did that in February of 2024. And we've really improved the system even since then, because it's, you all know, like, you bring in a new system, that new system is never perfect, and you're going to continue to improve it. So we have continued to improve the Maryland Tax Connect experience for businesses since we launched it in February 2024. I routinely talk to small business owners who are like, "Oh, it was so frustrating when you moved, but now it's great and I totally get it. It's fine and we like it." So I think, there's a learning curve. There was a learning curve for small business owners, and there's a curve for us to make things work better, and meet people where they are. So we're trying to constantly improve. The nice thing about that we've noticed is it used to be in our old system that if it had misapplied payments all the time. So a business would file a return and they'd pay, but the payment wouldn't get posted to the right business. Maybe there was a different LLC and and there were all these mistakes. So we were constantly needing to, like, our system then was constantly automatically sending bills out to people, to businesses, saying you owe, you owe, you owe. And they'd be like, "We don't owe, we paid." We have seen a huge reduction in that. So we are sending way fewer collections letters now because businesses can log in, can see what they owe, and can just pay right there. And so we don't have to send those, and the system is just much more accurate too. So we've actually, seen big strides. We're seeing compliance improve with businesses paying taxes. We're also getting a lot more small businesses on payment plans. When they do owe back taxes, like back sales taxes, we've put a record number on payment plans rather than having to send liens and, do garnishments. So that's been really successful too. So we feel really good about, I think the work that we're doing, recognizing there's always more to do, right? It's not a perfect system, and we will continue improving. And we're always open for feedback as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Especially that part about the payment plan, because with all the things happening in the economy,
Yeah.
globally, it has been a struggle on our businesses. So thank you. It was good seeing you, and thank you, Mr.
Thanks
Chair.
for all your work. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Senator Mounts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Comptroller. Good morning. Good to see you.
You too.
And thank you for the comments on and working on that legislation that we put in. Yeah, thank you for the. I want to particularly thank you for your annual report on the economy. It's come out, and it's a fresh release of information out of Annapolis. And sometimes, you feel like what comes out of Annapolis is sort of plays into a narrative.
Mhm.
And I was interested, you've done that report now and you're following it. What is your thoughts about our economy? Because we talk about this all the time. Our neighboring states are growing. We're not keeping pace. Population comparisons to our boundary states and things. What is your take about kind of what's going on in Maryland right now economically?
Sure. I think it's a big question. So I'm going to try to be brief because I know you have other things to do. But that's what I spent half an hour talking about at the Salisbury Chamber of Commerce last week. So look, I think there are a lot of challenges in the nation's economy, and Maryland is not, we are no exception to that. There have been challenges from a number of different fronts. If you look at wealth gains in the past 20 years, right? The wealthiest individuals in the nation are, their wealth has increased double, or has quadrupled, but middle income folks, their wealth has only doubled. So there's just a widening gap. I think we really are seeing in Maryland and elsewhere a true K-shaped economy, where folks who have investments and own their homes are doing better and better, and folks who don't, who are hourly employees, they're struggling more and more. It's why, when I visited the neighborhood center in Easton, they're seeing a huge increase in need for food and housing. I talked to Habitat for Humanity in Salisbury, and they said they had record need for housing and rental support, because folks' costs are going up and folks are struggling. And so, I have concerns over the long term about the fact that it seems like we are going like this and we don't have that middle class as stable as they used to be. So that's a long-term challenge that we need to really grapple with and figure out how to solve. Last year, I think it was Tom Barkin from the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond who said it was like businesses were driving through a fog. So they were going so slowly. Nobody was hiring, but nobody was firing. And because the conditions were just too foggy, nobody knew what was going to happen. There just wasn't enough certainty, whether that was because of tariffs, or the changing tax laws at the federal or state level. There was just too much uncertainty in the economy for businesses to make real big investments, but also they weren't laying off people as much because they remembered just a few years ago when it was so hard to hire. So, I think right now my hope is that we will emerge from that fog, and that there will be more certainty in the coming year so that businesses are able to make some more investments, be a little more bullish about growing. And in Maryland, of course, that takes investment at the state and the local level to make sure that we're encouraging our private sector to grow. I know the governor is really keen and is focused on his lighthouse industries, which is important, and really deciding where we're going to go big in Maryland so that we can grow our private sector and move away from look, we're never going to move away entirely from supporting the federal government. The federal government's a major employer, right? Just like in Texas, oil and gas is a major employer. But in Texas, renewables outpace oil and gas. And here we need to have private sector start to outpace federal. So it's real diversification is really essential.
Yeah. Well, I'm particularly interested in that middle income and the small businesses. They're the backbone.
Absolutely.
For sure. And the House conversation comes up, and the Senate president talked about the future of Maryland's economy. And we're not keeping up with our neighboring states, but there's nobody advocating for small businesses. And along the lines of what you discussed about going in the dark, I think, when you talk about that wealth, you look at the small businesses. I haven't seen that figure, but I would venture to guess that we are losing small businesses. And it's just I hear about it all the time, and I know you're paying attention to it. And
Senator, we are looking at that right now. We are thinking about trying to do a report on business migration and small business growth. That is very top of mind for us. Don't say nobody advocates for small businesses. You all do. I do, right? I think we are, we do our best to really support them as the bread and butter of our economy. So totally agree.
Thank you for keeping them on your priority list.
Of course.
Thank you.
Senator Croza.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Comptroller, for joining us. And I want to thank you for helping with that challenging case affecting the Delmar police officer. Delmar, the town that's too big for one state, presented some challenges.
It was such an interesting one. I'm so glad it came out how we wanted it to. And thank you for flagging it for us. Yep.
And my question is, and I think it probably reflects a follow-up to Delegate Cherie Sample Hughes and my other colleagues and friends, just basic casework challenges. A lot of us, and I know you as a former delegate understand that
totally
casework is our bread and butter. And
100%.
And what I try to do is not focus in on any one case, but just kind of bring to your attention some general themes and challenges that our constituents are having. Some of it, you mentioned the challenges of using the portal and the frustration that's come from that. Two, there's, I think, some confusion when constituents have questions, whether they go to the comptroller's office or to SSTAT, the Department.
Oh, I can't tell you, Senator Croza, how many questions we get.
I'll run through them and let you respond. And then we get our constituents getting the unemployment letters that they have to pay back, and they never received unemployment to begin with. And I have an example, my own district representative received one of those letters, and we had to work through that. And then finally, and we have brought this to your attention in the past, but again, just to kind of get it out there, those businesses that were having problems renewing their licenses at one point, I think in Worcester County, we had over 100. We worked through those, but I guess what I'm trying to bring to your attention is not so much the individual cases, but there seems to be some systemic issues, whether it's the portal, or the licenses that, was hoping that you might be able to give us an update on those.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, the portal has improved every month. I think most of the businesses, I talk to a lot of small businesses. It's basically all I do is I talk to businesses all over the state. Most of the people that I talk with now, they may have it may not be their favorite thing to do, but most of them can now, when I talk to them, they are able to work through things. No online system is perfect, and so sometimes they can't get their password, and so we work them through that. We also now have on the front page of a portal, you can just click a button and make an appointment. So you don't even have to wait around. You can just make an appointment for a phone call right on the front page of the portal, so that folks can get the help they need and, and set it up so that they can, if they want a tutorial, we'll walk them through it. We have webinars. So I think the portal has improved, which is good for all of us. The SDAT question, I'm not sure what to do about that. I agree, it's a challenge. We are not SDAT, and I can't be SDAT. But we don't run Business Tax Express, right? And so we do the best we can. If people email us, we send them to SDAT if it's an SDAT question. And it's the same with that unemployment letter. I'm not familiar with that letter. It sounds like a DOL. Department of Labor, because we don't run unemployment, but it is a challenge for sure when folks don't know where to go. And I think, because I've said this before, we need more pins. It's that simple. We do not have nearly the call center staff size that we should for a state our size. If we were going to answer 80% of our calls within 5 minutes or less, we would need 124 new pins. We can do the math. We know how long calls take. We have run a very professional call center, and we just do not have enough people. So I did an ask. We've asked for more pins to put on our call center from you all. Would love to keep getting get more pins so we can answer our calls more. But it really is just a question. It is just a math problem at some point. The system is going to keep improving because we're moving into this new system. We'll probably have a bump in calls, and then it'll go down because we'll be in the new system. So there will be fewer mistakes. Like, we get many fewer business calls now that we're in the new system than we did before. The final thing on the liquor licenses, yeah, it's a challenge because all of the liquor licenses come due at the same time. And so many businesses wait until their liquor license is due to pay what they owe. So we have tried to we started sending out letters in January this year to businesses saying, you owe, you owe, you owe, so that they don't wait until that April, date to try to solve the problem. Because if every entity who has a liquor license and that has a challenge or owes money in the entire state of Maryland waits until April 15th to work with us to pay, the phones are full on April 15th. Like, it's very hard. It's a very hard time for us to process it, right? You understand what April 15th is,
Madam
right?
Comptroller, and
So,
I appreciate those efforts.
So we're
Just
trying to
one-
do it early and get people to pay earlier so that we don't have to have that crunch at the end.
Okay. And just one quick follow-up. I know you kind of went right back to you requested more pins, but I just want to ask, you do have discretion in your position that when we really have that kind of influx of casework and a lot of constituents backed up trying to resolve issues, to move some staff and around to address that. Just again,
I don't have empty pins.
Well,
So
not
I
empty
don't have staff I can
empty
move
pins,
around.
but I did know, as far as I know, you
Yeah.
kind of showed that org chart at the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't know if some of those folks that it's about priorities. If some of those
they can't. Do you want me to take auditors off of?
No,
I don't have people I can move
just,
around.
I
wish I did. I
pins.
wish I would 100% do that, Senator, but I don't have people because first of all, I have a much lower open pin rate than almost any other agency. Like, we fill our pins. Second, folks who are handling the taxes are trained. So I can't take somebody from my general accounting team and put them on the phones to handle taxes. They don't know what to do, right? And I can't take somebody from my from my research team and put them on the phones to handle taxes. Like, it's a 2-month training for everybody who's on the phones. So it's just I don't, it theoretically could I? Sure, but it wouldn't help because they don't know how to do the work. So, so that it really is it's not that I don't prioritize that. It's that we are very challenged with the few number of pins we have. I mean, I'll tell you, if you look at auditors, most states for every 12,000 taxpayers, they have one auditor. In Maryland, it's one auditor for every 24,000 taxpayers. That is how understaffed we are. So, I totally hear you, and we're doing the best we can. But the more support that we can have from you will certainly reduce the casework. Like last year, DOL got 141 pins. So you probably get less phone calls about unemployment now because they actually are able to start staffing up. So, we're really doing our best, but at the end of the day, like we got to have bodies to answer the phones. But thank you and I really appreciate your partnership in working with us to flag the high needs and folks who haven't been able to get through so that we can prioritize them and get them what they need.
Okay.
Well, great. Thank
Madam
you.
Comptroller, let me just take a moment. I want to ask a question, and I'll give you your last word. We really appreciate you being on board with us for the meeting. So with the Board of Revenue Estimates, I've always found that a fascinating entity. For the 12 years, I think all of us pay close attention to what's happening there. My question goes to how far out do you in that board project out revenues? And I mean this in the following way. I'm a private sector business owner. We go to national meetings. We look out not just 6 months down the road. We are trying to see trends 2, 3, 5 years down the road. And it's pretty clear that what's happening in Washington, certainly on the short term, is chaotic. It's difficult. I get it as a policymaker. I can see, and you've testified to the fact that there's just a difficult future for us in the short run. However, in the long run, when we hear that Social Security is at risk, when we see our national debt approaching 40, $50 trillion, at some point this reconciles itself. And most of the national meetings I go to say that it resolves itself, but not in a very good way for our country. And of course, Maryland is right at the back door, front door, however you want to look at it, in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So my question goes to, when the Board of Revenue Estimates does their work, how far out do they project?
Sure.
And do you have concerns as your role about what things look like, not just 12 months out the road, but say 48 or 60 months down the road? And can you project?
Great question. We do the current fiscal year, the next fiscal year, and then sometimes we will glance at the, we don't do an estimate, but we'll look further down the road. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. Like, I am concerned about the debt. I am concerned about this trajectory of income and what the rising inequality and the K-shape and what that means for the middle class and their inability to, buy a home and savings. I have lots of concerns about, about all of those things for the long-term stability of our economy and the growth of our economy. We don't do revenue projections, though, for that far out. We really just do them for the current fiscal year and the next fiscal year. This fiscal year, we're projecting 3% growth in revenues. Next fiscal year, we're projecting right now 1% growth in our revenues. Just because of the challenges that we see at the federal level and the sort of right now, the lack of investment in hiring that we're seeing in the private sector. But we hope that will change with the investment that the state is making in some of these industries and hopefully, sort of steadying national economic trends. Right now, of course, healthcare and AI are driving all investment, all growth. And it's hard to know for how long that's sustainable. And so, people smarter than I don't know. So I don't want to project anything. But I don't think that anything you're saying is off base. I think what you're saying is correct and concerning and something that our national leaders need to do a better job at reckoning with.
So, Madam Comptroller, you get the last word. We do appreciate you reaching out to our
Sure.
office to
Thanks.
add you to our agenda. And it was a great opportunity to present you at the same time we're presenting our Eastern Shore tourism.
Yeah, no,
just a really good
that's great.
nexus and connection there. So, last word to you, and thank you for being with us.
I just want to thank you all. You know, it's a challenging time for many industries, many families, and I know you hear it from the folks that you're talking to. I also want to reiterate our support of the incredible institutions that you have on the shore, from UMES to Salisbury University to the incredible, you know, foundations, businesses. You all really punch above your weight. And, you know, we are here to support you and to support all of the industries and the small businesses and the universities and whatnot, that anything we can do, we want to be there to lend a hand. So thanks for all you're doing. Look forward to continuing to partner, and please keep in touch.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Thanks.
Okay, members, next up, we have the Eastern Shore Workforce Directors. Again, and I guess a nexus with the Comptroller. We have a wonderful presentation, and the floor is yours. Okay, I've made a mistake. I read the agenda wrong. So it's Chesapeake Bay Trust. And Janet Davis, sorry about that. I'm trying to read my notes. Vice Chair Jacobs is going to give me a hard time on the House floor this morning, I'm afraid.
No worries at all. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And it's such an honor to be here. So wonderful to see everybody. The reason that Suzanne Richards from the Ag Tag organization, Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation, and I from the Chesapeake Bay Trust are here is that we are representing what the two license plates are doing in your districts. So we think it's also appropriate that we're on the same agenda as the folks from tourism, because ecotourism and agritourism are such important parts of the tourism industry. And all the exploration that was discussed earlier this morning can be done with an ag tag or a Bays plate on your car. How's that for a connection? And many thanks to Senator Carrozza for making our Bay plate the Bays plate, recognizing the coastal bays too for folks on the Lower Eastern Shore. So very much appreciate that. And of course, Delegate Jacobs is our plate historian of the General Assembly. So thank you so much, Delegate Jacobs, for all your work over the years. So you guys actually also, so I'll go first and then I'll turn over to Suzanne from MAIF. You guys created the Chesapeake Bay Trust in the 80s, and our organization was a way to complement the work of state agencies and government. Government can do a lot of top-down projects, but you all wanted a way for community-based groups on the ground to sort of lead and do their own projects. So it's very much driven from the perspective of what someone on the ground wants to do in their neighborhood to sort of help with natural resources. Again, we think it's important to keep you guys posted. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Hopefully this works. I'm not so good with technology. But every year we're very transparent. We send you an annual report to let you know exactly what we're doing with the money from the Chesapeake and Coastal Bays license plate, as well as there's a tax checkoff that you guys created. It's the first one on the tax form. So again, appropriate preps that we're following the Comptroller. As you pay your taxes this year, you'll see it, the Chesapeake and Endangered Species Fund. It also funds in the coastal bays, Senator Carrozza and other folks from the Lower Eastern Shore. But here's an example inside the annual report. We list every grant that we make in every county. And in addition, we send you lists of grants that we make in your district quarterly. We make a lot of grants on the Eastern Shore. You can tell from my background, and it's an important part of our whole being at the Chesapeake Bay Trust. We've invested $16.8 million in the last 11 years or so in the various counties on the shore, actually every county on the shore. We would love to make more grants in Somerset County. So for those who are on the very lower shore, please let us know. One of the programs that we love is a Veterans Outdoor Engagement Program. We made a grant, for example, $5,000 for a Catfish for Heroes program, which combines our love of, I guess, both rockfish and catfish for veterans groups. So think of communities and groups in your districts that you think might have a project in mind that we can help with. We do have about 3 times the demand for our grants as available funds. So it's why we're constantly trying to amass more dollars to help these groups on the ground. We manage money from those 2 sources, the Bay Plate and the tax checkoff, about 40 other sources. A lot of counties will ask us to manage funds for them. So the city of Salisbury asks us to manage funds for them. And you guys have also, over the years, asked us to manage specific pots of money. One is very popular on the shore, the Chesapeake Conservation and Climate Corps, started by Senate President Miller in 2010, and we place a lot of young people on the shore in organizations to do amazing work. And I actually would love to fund please some of those folks in the tourism industry too. So if any of the tourism folks are still on the call, please give me a ring. So that's the Bays Plate, and the Chesapeake Bay Trust. And I will turn it over to Suzanne from Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation.
Thank you, Jenna. I'm Suzanne Richards with Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation. We have the lovely AgTag license plates. And I just wanted to share screen really quick. Hopefully I can do it the right way. To share with you a little bit about what the AgTag has been doing on the Eastern Shore. It would help if I actually started out on the correct slide. There we go. So now we know that agriculture's impact on the Eastern Shore is very large, billions of dollars in economic activity. So again, it goes along pretty well with the workforce development and tourism conversations you had earlier. But ag also supports and protects the environment and the quality of life that we enjoy on the Eastern Shore. So Maryland Ag Education Foundation works with about 150,000 students each year, helping young people not just understand where their food comes from, but also explore opportunities to pursue agriculture as a career. This is specifically, sorry, my voice, over the past year, our mobile science lab had visited 12 elementary schools in 6 counties across the Eastern Shore, reached out to 6,800 students with in-person ag education. Sorry. Not sure why having real fun with tech today. We reached out to over 1,000 students during Ag Literacy Week, which is a really fun week. It's coming up in March, where farmers are invited to visit an elementary classroom, read a book to students. This year's book is called The Dog Who Saved the Bees, and then do an activity with students and talk with them about what it's like to have a career in agriculture. We have FFA chapters on the high school level at a number of schools all across the Eastern Shore. Parkside, which is always a really great program, was recognized with a 1-star National Chapter Award from National FFA this year. We had an American degree recipient. I'm not sure why my slideshow is doing this to me today. National FFA chorus member, very exciting. And then 3 Let's Grow grants were funded to different projects in Caroline, Queen Anne's, and Somerset counties last year. So we do those garden grants in order to encourage people to get kids out, get them growing, and just get their hands dirty and learn a little bit more about how their food is grown. Be happy to take any questions as long as my voice holds up.
Your computer is sensing my fear. Anytime I'm around a computer, it starts to. Members, do we have any questions? Members, do we have any questions? Senator Croza.
I'll be very brief. First of all, thank you, Chesapeake Bay Trust, for all your good work and for focusing on the coastal bays as well as the Chesapeake Bay. I wanted to, Jana, give you an opportunity when we kind of included the coastal bays with the bays tag. It was part of that was if we could increase those numbers that we would have some of that money then coming back to the coastal bays. Can you just expound on that?
Yes. So adding coastal bays actually helped sell more bays plates. So that's fantastic. And we are making more and more grants in the coastal bays for so many different types of projects, coastal bays watershed. And we're open to other ideas too. So on that list, there's a grants, we can pull up the list again, and I'll separate it out for coastal bays and send you a list of just the coastal bays watershed grants that we've made. But water quality projects, outreach and engagement projects, we fund ag related projects in the coastal bays watershed. Litter reduction, we're working more and more with Ocean City. I see Melanie Purcell here, and I know she's worked with our team on ideas for Ocean City too. And we have a lot of businesses in the Ocean City area who have become part of our Plate Perks program. So lots more engagement with the Coastal Bays watershed. And again, we're completely open to new ideas. We love to fund non-environmental groups, so churches, neighborhoods, neighborhood associations, civic associations, hunting organizations. So send folks our way, even if they think they might not, connect with a Chesapeake Bay Trust grant.
Okay, I appreciated the point you were making with the connection with DMOs. Of course, we had the comptroller, we had that set time at 9:30, or we had you kind of lined up right with them. But could you talk a little bit more about the agritourism and the component that you were sharing about with the DMOs, and just some general thoughts about that? I wanted you to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, Suzanne, do you want to touch on agritourism? I mean, I'm happy to too, but I feel like that's your world.
Yep.
Sure. Agritourism is really it's quite a segment across the entire state. I think I don't want to quote. I know UMES has the numbers for the number of farm breweries, for example, or wineries and that sort of thing, encouraging people to come out and learn more about farming and the value-added products that are out there. Off the top of my head, I don't have the economic impact numbers, but I'm sure that I could get that to you pretty quickly.
And I'll just add from the trust perspective, one of our whole reasons for being is to get people outside and whatever it takes to get people outside and enjoying natural resources. So we fund a lot of school trips to farms. We fund a lot of ag practices on farms. And then we fund folks to go see those practices in action so they can learn about sustainable farming and, other sustainable practices.
Very good. I see no further questions, so I want to thank you for your presentation, and have a good day. Give you your last word if you're going to go ahead and make a final statement if you wish.
I was just going to say thank you so much for having us. We really, really appreciate it, and we appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Okay, members, next up, now we have the Eastern Shore Workforce Directors, and good morning. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and members of the delegation. As soon as my camera works here. There we go. My name is Brandon Butler, and I am with the Maryland Workforce Association. The Maryland Workforce Association is an association of the 13 local workforce boards in Maryland. And so we wanted to briefly jump on and do something that I really liked looking forward to doing during the 90-day session, is making sure that our legislators are connected with our local workforce experts in their community. And I see Senator Carrozza, so I know I'm preaching to the choir here whenever I say that, we are looking at workforce boards day in, day out are connecting businesses and job seekers. And so when you're having these conversations in your community about the business that says, hey man, I really need more job or more folks in order to expand. Whether that's apprenticeships or whether that is just simply getting people into the door of their buildings so that they can expand, or whether that is also the job seekers who are truly sometimes at the end of their rope, who are literally looking for that lifeline. So on the Eastern Shore, we are proud to have 2 workforce experts, both on the Upper Shores 5 counties, as well as the Lower Shores 3 counties. And so I'm going to hand it over to them in the interest of brevity. Again, this is not just so the conversation around during what we're doing during legislative session, but truly after legislative session, whenever you're getting those constituent calls. So I'm going to hand it over to Leslie Porter Cabell, our director with the Lower Shore Workforce Alliance, and then we'll hand it over to Ellen LaFranchi, who is the interim director of the Upper Shore WIB. So Leslie, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Leslie Porter Cabell, director of the Lower Shore Workforce Alliance. We're the workforce arm. I'm a division of the Tri-County Council for the Lower Eastern Shore, which is a regional planning organization. And I just wanted to reiterate, we are an extensive resource. Whether you are looking for data for legislation, we have a lot of data on our website. We have regional planning data, local planning data, and simultaneously we are engaged in training, whether it's maritime training for career pathways in the maritime industry. We are focused on training that is pertinent to the Lower Eastern Shore. We are funded to support the 2030 Apprenticeship Initiative. We use blueprint funds. We use federal and state funds because they all intersect to develop our regional workforce. It could be Maryland broadband, forklift training. We are fortunate in that the level and range of funding that we have supports those in most in need and those who just need an assistance and guidance to even be aware that these industry exists. As we know, we have an aging workforce, particularly in the skilled trades. We're trying to grow our own workforce here on the Lower Eastern Shore. And if we continue to braid these resources, we can potentially meet these expectations for the 2030 apprenticeships, as well as blueprint, as well as just workforce development on the Lower Eastern Shore that covers government, private sector, nonprofit. And I think we are a tremendous resource. And even though we are the Lower Shore, we also connect with the Upper Shore. We are a regional entity, and the region's only going to be strong if we collaborate. So I just want to reiterate that we are a resource. Do not hesitate to reach out. Even if you're just looking for data or you just wanted perspective or input, we are available. I'll turn it over to Ellen because I know you're also tight for time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm Ellen LaFranchi. I'm the Executive Director for the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board. And we work with Caroline, Dorchester, Kent, Queen Anne's, and Talbot counties. We do have a large area, but as Leslie mentioned, that we work very closely with our partners, whether it's the Lower Shore, with labor, with their labor business services, DSS, and I apologize, I know I'm leaving out some of our partners, but we have so many, and especially in this area, that's something that's so important to stretch services and really keep the focus on our customers. We also serve the demands of the industries on the Eastern Shore. We were awarded an impact grant with $150,000 that the focus will be on healthcare. And some of our larger healthcare areas are certified nursing assistant, certified clinical medical assistant, EMT, AMS, phlebotomy, and we have others. Our biggest funding for training is usually CDL. That's a big demand in this area, and they make quite the livable wage. We have been having meetings with some tech companies, and there is a need and a want to come to the Eastern Shore. So I'm very excited. It sounds like we have at least 2 that are either expanding or coming to this area. So that's always exciting. Blueprint, we went through a reorganization, and we are, as Leslie had said, braiding some funds. And our Blueprint coordinator is also our youth coordinator. So that way we were able to serve these students on multiple levels and braid those 2 funding streams to expand what we can do for students who are most high risk, and especially in areas of career exploration. Last Saturday was an agricultural session with Chesapeake College. And we also work with our partners for, we have a Upper Shore Business Services group for conducting and planning job fairs, and also really kind of a brainstorming for what we can do for businesses' needs. I'm trying to do this very quickly. So
you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've got time. It's all good.
Mr. Chairman, I would be remiss to point out 2 things very quickly. So we have a bill before the legislature right now, Senate Bill 777, that is being sponsored by Delegate Sallings, and House Bill 1358. What this bill, in a very quick nutshell, and we had a hearing yesterday on the House bill, simply put, is that when Maryland makes investments in workforce development, whether that's funding for things like when hospitals close, or where there's apprenticeship opportunities, that workforce boards be included in those funding. So the hearing went very well yesterday in front of the GLE, the Government, Labor and Elections Committee, and I believe we have a hearing in front of Finance here in the upcoming weeks. Also, Mr. Chairman, I would also be remiss if I didn't say that because he just turned his camera on, that Dan Schneckenberger is a recovering workforce development director. And we were very proud to be working with him in the past and continue to work with him in Cecil County.
Wonderful. I see a hand up.
Oh, yeah, this is Leslie Porter Cabell. I just wanted to add one thing. When Ellen mentioned the alliance with the healthcare industry, which is one of our prominent industries on the Lower Eastern Shore, it just prompted me to mention that on April 29th, we have an event at the Civic Center, which will be attracting students from the high schools, and it's called our Summer Kickoff, and we are partnering with Tidal Health to expose students not only to the employment opportunities for the summer, but also what those career pathways are. So that'll be April 29th, and it'll be for the schools in the counties and also for homeschool students as well. And then we will follow in the summer, in August, we will have a maritime conference on the Lower Eastern Shore to promote the maritime industries and what is needed on the Lower Eastern Shore. And then in October, we will have another career carnival, which again exposes students to various industry sectors which are pertinent to the Lower Eastern Shore. So I just wanted to add that. We have a lot going on, and so does the Upper Shore. So we are a tremendous resource. Thank you.
Sure sounds like it. I'm not seeing any questions from the members, so I want to thank you for your time. And Brandon, Ellen, and Leslie, if you have a last word, we've certainly got time for that. But thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Members, we're going to turn to the federal updates, and Senator Croza, Delegate Jacobs, and Senator Mounts was hoping to get an update from Congressman Harris's office on what's happening with the Waterman, some of the things that have been front page news for the Eastern Shore delegation. So do we have Mike Detmer on, and maybe we can just have a discussion about the current events there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and Jackie will be giving the rest of the update, but I did just check, and the Congressman's office has not heard from the governor or from DNR at this time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
We may want to do a follow-up. I know we had our earlier formal letter on January 30th, I believe, and Senator Mounts has brought this up on the Senate floor. I had the opportunity to talk to the governor on Monday. He was calling about the weather situation on Monday and on the Lower Shore, and I took the opportunity to specifically bring up to him the request, the federal request to be made on behalf of the watermen for the federal disaster relief assistance. But also I asked him, knowing that sometimes those federal declarations and that process takes a little bit of time, asked him what state emergency funds might be available to the watermen because they need this assistance now. Even threw in there the rainy day fund, other emergency assistance. I know we had Secretary Kurtz on last week. So, if we haven't heard anything, I would believe that we would want to follow up again formally.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll tell you what we'll do, Senator Cruz, if you don't mind. Why don't we go through the federal updates? There's a spot here at the end of those updates where perhaps those others that present will bring it up, and then we'll make a motion to do just that. So Congressman Harris's office, would you like to do just the federal update then? Is that Jackie? Okay, she's not there. How about Alyssa Hastings, Senator Van Hollen's office?
Hi, Mr. Chair. Hi, members. Yes, I'm here. Just wanted to reiterate that our congressionally directed spending portal is open at this time for both senators' offices, and we're accepting applications until March 15th. And both senators are going to be on the shore today, so we're driving up up to Kent County at the moment, and looking forward to some good visits on the shore. Thanks.
Okay, Kim Cradavell, are you with us?
I am with you.
also driving up to Kent County, and looking forward to a good day on the shore. I will check in with my office as well and get back with you all about that question. So.
And that's absolutely why I wanted to kind of stop and make this point of like federal updates, because I think we all are on board with wanting to try to do something constructive in that particular aspect. So I see Congressman Harris's office. Are we online?
Yes, Mr. Chair, sorry about that. Just a quick note on the directed spending request coming for the congressman. Our deadline has moved up pretty dramatically. It'll be this coming week on Wednesday, I believe. Please reach out to me or Mark Brown if you have any questions, or if any of the people that you're working with or that you know are working on it. Please do encourage them. Sooner is definitely better for us. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Senator Crozer, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, let's try to make a motion, and I want to make sure I'm clear on what we're talking about. So the delegation wrote a letter. Senator Mounts recommended that we send that to the governor's office. Last week, we had the Secretary of DNR on, along with the Waterman, with some follow-up. And what I think we're hearing is that at this moment, we've not, or the congressman has not heard from, or any of our federal elected officials have heard from the governor about this request, which is what we need in order for there to be a trigger to, get some of this disaster relief. But if you could just better describe for me what it is that you'd like for the delegation to do, and we'll make a motion to do that.
Well, and I would defer to Chair Jacobs and Senator Mounts, but I think the follow-up communication would be that, this is still, an urgent matter, that, we're pursuing the federal request, but I think in addition, we should go on record requesting any state emergency assistance that may be available for our watermen and their families.
Okay. Senator, go ahead. Senator Mounts or Jacobs, Delegate Jacobs, do you have a comment to make on the subject?
Yeah, I mean, the governor has made no indication that he intends to do anything, because he received a letter from the delegation prior to the state of the state, and I think if he had any intention of being of doing any assistance, that he would have made mention during the state of the state speech. I know we've all reached out to him. We've reached out at the federal level, but the oystermen in the state of Maryland need help now. They can't wait. It has been devastating. We had the worst market year I can ever remember in my lifetime, starting with the salmonella issue, the ice issue, and now the Potomac issue. I mean, I don't know how much more of a blow that the oystermen of this state can take. It's really having a huge financial impact on them. I know there's some things in the works that are not ready to be broadcast at this point, but we're not hearing anything from the governor's office. And I think the Senator Carros is right, and Senator Mouse, that we should send another letter and say, it's been 3 weeks or so, we haven't heard anything. The problem has only been exasperated with the Potomac issue, and we need help now for our oystermen who are suffering greatly from this year's unfortunate chain of events.
Mm-hmm. Senator Mounts, would you like to add anything? Or, I mean,
so we heard from Secretary Kurtz last week. He came on to the delegation, but when we talked to him, we asked him to keep us up to speed and give us an update. I mean, have you heard anything from DNR? I mean, have they been in touch? Hey, we're working on this, or has there been any feedback since that meeting, Mr. Chair?
Okay, so I see a hand up. I see Harrison's on here. Harrison, why don't you, it sounds like you have something you'd like to add, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Delegate Adams, and thank you, Senator Carros, Senator Mounts, and Delegate Jacobs for bringing the concern back up. As Delegate Jacobs mentioned, we're getting close to publicizing some more final releases to get out But the governor's office has instructed and DNR, MDA, MDE, and MDEM to be working continuously on this. We've got daily meetings on how we're going to be addressing the communications and publicity, both for the oysters specifically, but also targeting the Potomac event and ensuring that there's consumer safety and protections in front of those industries, so that folks know it's safe to buy Maryland seafood and eat Maryland seafood. So, to Delegate Jacobs' point, we're still working through it. We've got another meeting in 22 minutes, and I'll reiterate the concerns of the delegation for more consistent communication, but would be happy to follow up offline on some of those initiatives and what those next steps are going to be.
Okay.
Delegate
Jacob,
Adams, also, I wanted to reiterate, we're now hearing that Fulton Fish Market in New York, which is the biggest market for
let me just hang up and call.
striped bass, you know, that's the number one market for fishermen, is no longer buying any rockfish or striped bass from the Potomac. And so, you know, now it's not only the oysters, but now we're having the striped bass fishery is starting to be an impact on that. And here we are on the edge of spawning season, which rockfish do spawn in the Potomac. So, you know, this thing may very well expand, but not only is the oyster issue at top of the list, but now we're having Fulton Fish Market, with biggest buyer on the East Coast, you know, where the real money is made, no longer buying striped bass that are coming out of the Potomac. So it's really, you know, becoming a serious issue.
Senator Bounce.
Yeah, Harrison, I appreciate that update, but I tried to intimate this last week, but this isn't for us. You know, this isn't like we need to know and we want to have updates and briefings. This is for the people that are affected. And it's like 3 weeks too late. I mean, the mere fact we had to send a letter about this 3 weeks ago was a surprise to me. I mean, I would have thought that, you know, this would have been a top, you know, right at the head of, I'm not sure where the breakdown is, but it's like, I get the sense like the government is working, but the government is so slow and they're just not reacting. And, you know, I mean, I get it. There's got to be long-term plans for this and for that and all that, but damn, there's a problem like right now, you know? And yeah, it's the frustration is not me personally. It's the people that talk to me that are affected by this. And I appreciate that there's meetings and attention being driven by, this isn't a big policy issue. This is like an operations immediate crisis. What are you going to do and what's happening? And there's no information. But I just wanted to respond to you and say thank you for sharing that. But I still think we ought to send a letter, doubling down on, you know, give us some information, get something out, or maybe change the tone of it a little bit and say, please provide some information to the general public, you know, at least the affected industry. And I think Senator Crows has brought up a great point about, you know, what immediate relief can the state of Maryland provide? I know we've been having some backdoor discussions about putting some programs and things together, but you know, making sure we're on the record telling the governor this is a priority and that it should qualify for some state attention. I think that would make sense too. So I would say like a two-pronged letter, you know, following up, where's the public outreach? And what's the explanation? Two, are we looking at, you know, the state resources while that's going on? Something of that nature, and just kind of short, you know, just to keep this, you know, obviously the effort's not satisfying the need. And I just wanted to share that. So thank you.
Harrison.
Thank you, Delegate. I just wanted to express thanks to Senator Mounts for bringing that up, and you are correct. I mean, this is a statewide issue. This is not a regional issue. This is not a party or policy issue. One of the main pieces that we wanted to be assured of is the science behind the Potomac site between MDE and DNR and what they've been able to bring to the table, and what they've been showing is really promising. So that's a major part of the response on that side. But happy to follow up offline and continue that conversation. But certainly agree and empathize with with your points that you're making. So thank you.
Senator, why don't we just do this formally and make a motion? And Johnny, I need you to do that real quick if you don't mind. Just make a motion for the purpose of drafting this letter, because we could probably get this done and sent out today if you would just.
Sure, I'd like to make the motion that we send a letter following up on our January 30th letter, asking for immediate attention and also recommending or giving our support to the governor to look to state resources to provide immediate relief.
Delegate Jacobs, could you give us a second and add to anything you'd like to have added to that letter?
Well, I'll talk with you on the floor.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So can we get a second on that letter? I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay. All right. Very good. Members, is there anything else for the good of the order? Mike Detmer, I see you raise your hand real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, apologies for the technical problems on our side. One important note that I wanted to add is for community project funding, guidance was released by the House Appropriations Committee last week. A new prohibition on funding nonprofit organizations. Sole exception is volunteer fire departments. So legislators, if you know of anyone that is seeking that, any nonprofit, we ask please make sure that they're tracking with Senators Van Hollen and also Brooks. Thank you.
Okay, members, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I need a motion and second to close the meeting.
Motion to close.
Second.
Have a good weekend.